Wow! After 10,000 years, I'm free. Free to podcast about Power Rangers.
Becca, Jake's escaped. Time to make a podcast with attitude.
Welcome, Rangers, to Once More with Morphin, Nerdy Up North's Power Rangers retrospective watch-along show. I'm your host, Jake, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, the wonderful Becca from the Women of Nerd Culture. But yeah, this is our sort of second episode. Technically, the first one was just a quick intro into like why we like Power Rangers and why we're doing this and what we're doing. And now we're going to start talking about episodes. And this we're doing the four-ish. Like Becca said in the previous one, we won't split, multiple parters if that's the case when we hit one. But yeah, we're here to talk about the first 4 episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we were just talking before we went on air, but the editing is crazy in this first batch.
It's absolutely bonkers because obviously they've got so much Sentai footage to work with, and because they were trying to be absolutely cheap as you like, they have used so much of the Sentai footage, like just even like the opening scene with the dumpster can being opened. It's very, very Japanese in style. It's very obviously because you've got the Japanese actress, you've got
and the astronauts, you can see their faces and they've got these like American accents with like, hey, look over there.
it is a bit dodgy. But this episode, it just holds a special place in my heart because it started the beginning of part of my personality, to be fair. But this episode is very much all over the place.
I think like it's like they've got good ideas.
Yeah.
And they were definitely onto something, but it feels like the editors and the show writers were not taking this very serious, and it shows through in the final product.
no, because obviously they've got Makiyoko Soga, who is like the Japanese Rita Repulsa, and then obviously you've got Barbara Goodson, who is the voice.
Which is an insane voice, by the way.
Yes.
It's very impressive how she does that with her voice.
But do you know what happened? What happened and why she was like the immediate choice to do it? Because she's worked on like various animated products. And she famously almost missed out because they wanted a very, very Wicked Witch of the West sounding voice. She flew out to LA. She was rejected, and she got so angry that she apparently, obviously this is mythology, she yelled at the producers, "You want angry? I'll show you angry," in the exact voice that we later see as Rita Repulsa, and she was obviously hired on the spot for it. But like you've said obviously privately, that Goldar's voice is literally all over the place in these lot of episodes.
Yeah, because like it's just I don't remember this Goldar voice at all, because like he's like, look out, it's me, like type of thing.
Yeah, obviously it's Kerrigan, I believe, still at this part, and he's obviously another one of the go-to actors for Saban. And his voice in these episodes is really intense. Sort of like it's an angry snarl, but it does become more mellow as it goes on.
I would say it becomes more of like a roar later on. Like, yeah, it's like snarly and nasally now, but like future ones, he'll just be like, "Oh, Rangers" and stuff, and you're like, "Oh, hell yeah!" Now he's scary.
yeah. It's definitely one of those ones that kind of you do notice as an adult looking back. You're like, oh. Yeah. But this episode, it's just interesting. Obviously, we're just going to read out the
synopsis. We'll give you, just in case you're not watching along, just so you've got a rough idea of what's going on.
Yeah, so it's an interesting one, and I kind of get thrown every time I start to watch this. Just how interesting these first lot of episodes are, because you don't expect it to be quite as intense, jumping in straight into this episode.
There is no explanation of what's going on, so we'll try and help you. But so the synopsis for this first one, Day of the Dumpster, which I'm guessing in Japanese it wasn't called a dumpster, but here we are making puns and jokes already at the expense of the footage. So following the accidental release of a long imprisoned evil space sorceress, Rita Repulsa, a benevolent sage known as Zordon drafts a group of 5 teenagers to help protect the planet as dinosaur-powered warriors of goodness.
Yes.
Okay, so probably because this is the first time we're meeting casts of characters, we should probably try and explain who all these people are. So Rita Repulsa, like it says, evil space sorceress. She seems to have very nebulous powers that can kind of do anything that the episode plot requires. So she's your classic evil person who can kind of do anything with magic spells and she'll very rarely get a comeuppance, and the Rangers very rarely meet her in person. She's always in like the Moon Palace
or on a really old-fashioned bike going through the air.
which she can apparently just fly around. So like in Japanese, she's more witch coded instead of like space sort of magic. So this you do see some witch stuff blended in every now and then, like spells and cauldrons and dry ice and stuff like that.
It's amazing. It really is.
So she has her group of evil space aliens. So they all seem to come from different races of aliens, which is interesting. So I guess they're kind of like a reverse Power Rangers in a kind of way where they're like, oh, we're the evil guys, but we're all people from different backgrounds who've all come together to team up. So Goldar is like a giant lion man in golden armor with wings. He's pretty cool looking though. I definitely had a toy of him as a kid.
Yes, definitely. I think I did as well.
Then we've got Squat and Babu, who were like our comedy bad evil sidekicks who just kind of bumble around. I think Squat's the little guy with like the sharp teeth who always wants to eat stuff, and then Babu's like a flying monkey from Wizard of Oz, but very clearly Japanese because his face is mostly on show. Then we have Finster, who's kind of like a dragon man, so like like a sort of feathered dragon man, where he's got like a little pointy nose.
I always thought of him more of a bat. I don't know why. When I was a kid, I don't know.
Yeah, but I know he's kind of like he is like a mammal, but he's kind of like pointy nose. But anyway, Finster's the guy who makes all the monsters out of clay, including the Putty Patrollers. But anyone else, they go into some machine, which I think they call the Monster-matic in English, but I'm sure it had a cooler name in the original one. But yeah, it's fun because you see him making like tiny versions and then they get like plopped out.
It's adorable, to be fair. I love this process. I love that we see this actual process of creating the monsters, because
but again, the magic power is very like you don't know what the limit is to this power, because sometimes he's like, oh well, I don't know if I want to put this guy in because he's too powerful, like sort of thing, and you're like, I don't understand how your clay magic works. But like Finster's probably the most hands off, where it's like he is definitely still scared and respects Rita, but like there's times when he's like, I don't know, I'm just in my workshop, and he's like, I guess I'll give her something. Like he's not as like grovelly as the rest of them.
Which I kind of like. I like that we've got the differences in these characters. It's an interesting, because I've got to admit, I do love the scenes on the moon. I love those scenes. I think they are beautifully shot, and the
set's amazing
well. The set is amazing. It really is. They put a lot of work into that.
And you know what's not as bad as people used to make fun of? Like the matching the mouth movements up to the vocals. It's actually, they tried really hard to like match the mouth movements with the Japanese footage.
They did, and it's not as bad. We didn't notice it as kids.
No. And apparently this is where some of that like extra footage comes in. There's a few shots of Rita that are noticeably like higher quality like when she's coming back from the telescope, I think is one of them.
Yeah.
So they definitely shot a couple to help, with the make my monster grow and stuff like that. I think to smooth it over.
Yeah.
They send monsters down. Eventually she will make it grow into a kaiju level threat, which the Power Rangers have to deal with accordingly.
Yes.
But let's talk about the Rangers, because Rita becoming alive sets off Zordon to be like, uh-oh, there's problems. Rita's come back. I guess Zordon just hangs out on Earth waiting to protect it.
Yeah, that's never really explained. It might be explained in the comics, obviously, because obviously Zordon is trapped in a transwarp thing. He's obviously a man in a tube. That is where he goes. He is an alien from Eltar. And we have got Alpha 5, who is possibly my favourite character in the whole of the Power Ranger series, who is a little robot who goes ay quite a lot. But he is the one that has to summon the teenagers with attitude.
Yeah, I love his little lightning bolt as well, with the little lights that go up and down. It's very good. But yeah, so they make some weird jokes here where he's like, we need people who are emotionally unstable but good at heart or something. And then Alpha's like, no, not teenagers. And he's like, yes.
I absolutely love that part. I'm just like, oh, that's adorable. Because but also what I love is these parts are linked back into the comics, because we obviously learn later on in the comics that these are actually not the first Power Rangers.
Right.
In the comics, there were Power Rangers in the 60s, because Rita nearly escaped in the 60s or the 70s, and there were Power Rangers then. So obviously these moments are linked back, because this is not the first time they've done this show. And
you do get that, which is nice. It gives it some extra extra lore to sort of think about, where you're like, oh, this is already like an established dynamic between Zordon and Rita.
This isn't the first time. But and then we get to obviously meet our heroes.
Who all hang out at a juice bar every day.
I don't know where they've got the money for it, but okay, you do you, boo.
They can't really decide whether or not it's like a school or a sort of or a hangout spot, because you don't see them in class very often, but they do allude that they go to classes, but then sometimes they're like, oh, they work here.
Because obviously Kimberly does aerobics classes.
And gymnastics stuff.
She does that, and obviously Jason takes he does karate classes.
They all teach classes and stuff, because like there's obviously like Zach and his dance and stuff, and Billy's like, science boy.
So they all do things in this community center.
Is she more of like an environmentalist sort of? Does she like help with that kind of thing?
Because obviously we see that in the third or fourth episode, that that's very much what she does,
like organizes petitions and stuff for things, and gets involved with that side of it. Our cast is Black Ranger Zach, Pink Ranger Kimberly, Blue Ranger Billy, Yellow Ranger Trini, which is Becca's favorite, and Red Ranger Jason at the moment. But also there's a couple of other people that make random appearances. I'm blanking on the name of the juice bar guy. Ernie, he's pretty great. He's like their friend who's like, I'm just gonna bring drinks, and he's the one who talks about what's happening in the real world. He's like, did you hear the Power Rangers did this? And then the gang are like, haha, yeah, Ernie.
And then we've got Bulk and Skull, who go on a journey, because they are characters that appear in so many versions of Power Rangers. They appear more than the original cast in any other series, because they are in the series all the way up to in space in one form or another. Actually, no, Lost Galaxy, because Skull appears in Lost Galaxy, and then they come back later on. Like one of them appears in Forever Red, and then they appear in I want to say it's not Dino Thunder, it's it's one of the ones towards the end. You have a Bulk back with Skull's son. So, you know, they go on, these characters, for how they start in the series, they go on an absolute journey, and I love that.
Yeah,
like,
this is Bulk and Skull. Obviously, they're like the baddies, but they're so like low threat to the like on the Power Rangers like scale of things that they kind of just become lovable like dorks who like run around and cause mild peril. They do try and start it off a bit more menacing, where they're like, oh, these are like physical bullies who will like you know beat people up. But yeah, so Bulk is the chubby one. I wouldn't say he's exactly fat by today's standards, but back in the 90s, this was enough to get you get you a name like a Bulk forever. And Skull's like the little one, but they're both sort of like punk slash biker coded. Like the fashion's really interesting. Like Skull wears like a beret and stuff like that, you know, like, and it's just like the actual, I know they can't have any like band stuff, but they allude to like, oh, these would be the guys into like rock and metal music who kind of hang out and smoke cigarettes and
very much, it's very much coded like that for the early 90s.
So I just want to say here, because it's quite funny, that the nicknames are based on their real in-universe names, which is Farkas Bulkmeyer and Eugene Skulovich, which is pretty hilarious.
I love it. I love it so much.
Because like later on they get their shit together. They get jobs together and
become like youth police officers.
Policemen, which lets them have like, you know, a silly thing with their like captain and stuff. So you get
Captain
more comedy
Stone.
that way.
Captain Stone, I love it.
So right now we do have a weird principal who wanders around and is sometimes involved in things and sometimes not.
Mr. Is it Capel? Kaplan?
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that. And
he hasn't shown up yet, I don't think.
No, not in the Day of the Dumpster. There's no one other than Bulk and Skull and Ernie that show up in this episode. But yeah, it's such a strange episode. Just because of how it starts. Obviously, it starts with Rita, then it goes straight to Zordon, and then obviously
it moves quick.
It moves so quick. You know, he recruits the 5 teenagers. They're given their power morphers. They reject it, leave.
Yeah.
They're attacked by putties.
Yeah.
Overcome by the putties, and then they do the first morph.
And then summon the Zords as well, all in one episode.
It kind of very, 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 very quickly moves. This is kind of why we decided, okay, we're gonna do like 4 episodes at a time, because these episodes are what 20, 25 minutes, you know, maybe 20, 28 minutes, depending.
But they get through a lot of stuff.
They move so quickly, especially in these early episodes.
So like, basically this one involves, they're just gonna start it simple. Goldar's the one causing trouble. That's what they need to like power up for. I love the monster grow sequence where she like throws the wand down. She's got this like eclipse crescent moon wand thing going on, and she like throws it from the moon all the way into Earth, and it kind of like splits the ground and like all of the.
There is a lot of explosions.
I don't know what footage they chose for this. It was probably some kind of mining sort of operation. But and then it's like, I guess the theory is the monster sort of comes out of the ground. But they do that thing in kaiju things where the camera's on the floor and they're like, like every time. But it always looks good.
It does look good. And this is kind of where the lore gets a bit silly, because Goldar, obviously, once he's defeated by the Rangers, just goes back to normal size.
Yeah.
But if it's another monster, they're destroyed. They're gone.
They explode, usually.
Yes.
They'll do like a thing where they fall backwards slowly and then blow up when they hit the ground. It's great. Zordon is throughout the series positioned as like the top lieutenant. You know, like if he shows up, normally it's like a super threat, but I guess in this one we're just sort of introing everyone. But later on he'll be shown to be like, oh, you don't want to be like one-on-one with Goldar, sorry. Because he definitely nearly destroys the Megazord later on in the series and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and there's that part where he gets like stuck one-on-one with Jason, isn't there? Or Tommy, possibly. I can't remember. But
It could be both because they both have episodes where they kind of square up to him. So
yeah, and it's
yeah,
seen as like, this is a really dangerous, like almost horror movie style
yeah,
situation to be in. But right now he's a bit silly.
yeah,
But yeah, this is the first time we see all the Dino Zords as well. So like yeah, the Zord stuff has extra lore in the Japanese version where the Megazord is like sort of has its own personality
yeah.
and helps the
Because
Rangers.
you were gutted that it doesn't speak.
Well, it's like a god, and I was like, that would actually be interesting. So in all of the not dinosaurs, the guardian beasts, which is why you have like a saber-toothed tiger and a mammoth,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
aren't actually
yeah,
dinosaurs.
yeah,
But
yeah.
as kids, we didn't care.
We didn't know. We knew no better.
I love the design of the like the Tyrannosaurus one. It's just so cool because it's like it's not like accurate to a Tyrannosaurus.
Not in the
It's more like
slightest.
it has to be Godzilla shaped. Let's face it. There's a man in the suit, so it has to be sort of Godzilla shaped and
Yeah,
more like upright. But I just love like it's just the designs and the helmets and everything. Like it's just so cool. Like
yeah.
yeah, they just really hit on a design philosophy here that was perfect.
They did, and they didn't realize how good it was until they were like overwhelmed by how
Yeah,
big it had become.
yeah.
Like,
Um, and so like the dinosaurs, which I'm sure everyone has seen at this point, but they can form together. They start off as like a rolling tank fortress thing, which is pretty cool, which you could do with the toy. It could do both.
yeah,
But then when stuff gets serious, they like stands up,
yeah,
and then the head swaps. The Tyrannosaurus head goes down. The chest plate comes on, which is the pterodactyl, and yeah, then we got a Megazord who's
yeah.
like got horns and everything. And
It's such a cool design. You can see it just below. We can see the chest plate and
yes.
one of the arms just below us here.
What I always wonder is where is Kimberly when they're in the tank form? Is she just flying alongside,
Yeah,
like
because
waiting?
obviously she doesn't come along until like they form the Megazord, does she?
Yeah,
So
because they put the elephant head on the chest
yeah,
when it's in the tank mode.
yeah. So she just comes along right at the end, just to,
Yeah,
just to form the Megazord.
yeah, but and then the cool part is when they do that, all of the little seats go together somehow.
Yeah,
Like they get pushed into like the same area,
yeah.
and everyone's sat next to each
I
other.
kind of always this is gonna sound so daft. I was like, okay, so do they have like tunnels inside the Megazord where they move?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I was like, I need to work out what happens here. Like,
like a bunch of elevators because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
would have to move Trini and Billy from the legs up to
yeah,
the middle.
yeah.
They're in
So
the head, I think, as well. I think
yeah,
you're seeing through the eyes is
yeah,
what they're trying to do.
yeah. So I imagine they've got elevators, or it's a bit like Star Trek, like turbo tubes, where you have to kind of go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my head canon. You have had an insight into
um,
what happens in my head sometimes.
yeah, and so like the Megazord's got like a bunch of lasers that it sometimes fires, other times it just tries to punch the baddies
Yeah,
and stuff like that. I think they do in this episode call the Mega Sword down, if
yeah,
that's
they
what it's
do.
called.
Yeah,
But Goldar's like, nope, like I'm not dealing with this because he must know that it kind of just chops through most things that we'll come across.
yes, yes.
Um, so yeah, and then it's your classic like ending of a kids show where like Goldar goes back and like Rita's like, "Bruh, I have a headache. You guys suck."
I love the fact that this has become such a thing for Rita that she has headaches.
Yeah,
I love that it's a theme for her. She's like, "Ah,
yeah. You guys are so annoying.
yes,
I'm becoming ill.
yes. And yeah, like you said, we then have the classic ending of any 90s kids show
Yeah,
with them doing like a group high five and just
yeah. There's a lot of group posing, and a lot of like cool hand gestures and stuff when they're in Ranger form, which obviously helps with the overdubbing. Because like
yes,
the guys when they sit down are like like as soon as they sit in the Megazord,
yeah.
you're just like, I don't know what you're doing, but it looks cool.
Yeah, and that's what I think a lot of it is. They are trying to be extra cool.
Yeah,
Um, and it is, even looking back, I think, oh, that is cool. And I can see why, 4, 5, 6-year-old me absolutely adored Power Rangers so goddamn much because
Yeah.
it's bright, it's fascinating. You know, there is a very simple storyline
Yeah.
to
No subtlety generally.
no,
Not yet.
yeah, yes. It's wham bam, thank you, thank you, ma'am. It
Yeah.
literally, this episode it's wild and how quick everything happens.
Yes.
Um
And that whole like we'll get into it as we go. Like there is some repetition, but it's intentional. Like one, they're doing it for someone sitting down and watching like episode 7 is the first thing I've seen. You get all the stuff. You get the morph, you get the call and the dinosaurs,
yeah,
and you see it. It's a technique that they use a lot in like Japanese cartoons, like the magical girl stuff, like
yeah.
Sailor Moon. Like you always see the
Yes,
transformation
yes,
sequence. Same with like even like stuff that's more like boy coded, like Dragon Ball, like Goku will power up. Like they do it almost every
I
episode.
would say even like Pokemon and things like that, it's very
Yes.
repetitive in what they do.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's a kids program, so they do that so that kids can recognize it each time.
And they work hard on those sequences, like the transformation like sequences, like henshin stuff,
Yeah,
like they work hard on it. It's so then that's like usually the best animation or the best shot parts of
yeah,
the show. So like you want to show it, like you want to
yeah.
see it as well, because it's like, oh, this looks the coolest. Like when the like the Tyrannosaurus comes out with all the smoke and stuff, you're
Well,
like, yeah.
this is why, obviously, because we didn't realize, obviously, a lot of the ones that we now have for
Mhm.
Power Rangers is the reignition stuff, where they've
Yeah,
actually used AI. We don't like AI, but they have used AI, and they've updated the footage of
yeah.
the Zords and the fights, and I've got to admit, it does look epic.
Yeah, like it looks a lot cleaner. But like I think the only thing we both noticed, which I think might just be Netflix encode and stuff, is there's like some screen tearing when it's doing like pan shots and it'll
Yeah,
like chop the screen a bit.
yeah,
But I think that's just Netflix being Netflix. I
yeah.
think I've heard the DVDs are okay if you get those or
I think
something.
I've also watched it. I don't know if, because obviously I was doing a mix of watching it on
There's
Netflix
YouTube as
and
well.
YouTube. I think I've watched it originally on YouTube and I didn't notice that. I watched it on Netflix and I did because I was hoping that Netflix had the extra stuff, but they didn't, because
Mm.
supposedly Reignition has like questions at the end or trivia or something, but we don't get it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, we'll keep on investigating. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll switch to YouTube eventually.
Mm.
Okay, so our next episode is called High Five, which I don't remember why exactly. But the synopsis we have here is Trini has to overcome her fear of heights to rescue Billy. Meanwhile, Rita Repulsa has plans to trap the Rangers in a time warp with the help of Finster's latest monster, Bones. Or is it? I thought it was Mr. Bones.
I
Maybe
think it
it's
is
just
Mr.
Bones.
Bones. I think it is Mr. Bones.
But also, this monster design is insane, and I'm like, this guy could have been like a regular recurring
Well,
character.
I think they actually use him again somewhere.
Yeah,
I think he is actually used again.
yeah, okay.
Or at least I remember seeing him again. Or it could be later on, when this character. I'm sure there is an episode later on where there are several monsters brought back.
Yeah, okay.
I'm pretty sure that's.
I think it looks like he's been brought back in some comics as well. So like people clearly saw the potential of this guy.
Yeah, because obviously this is
But
the first monster of the week, which I love.
yeah, he's like how can I describe him? He's kind of like a musketeer skeleton because he's got like a hat with a feather in it
Yeah,
and a cape
yeah,
and like a sort of standard. It's like I
yeah.
guess
That's
European sword style.
yeah. That's how I
Yeah,
would describe him.
yeah, absolutely. But okay, so yeah, this was the first one where I was like, what the hell's going on? Because it definitely takes footage from like different episodes and footage of Japanese cities where you can clearly tell it's Japan.
Yes, yes, yeah. It's a little bit interesting because obviously there are some some moments that you're like, okay, watching it as an adult you didn't notice as a kid, but
Yeah.
that is one of them. Um, but yeah, I
When you see the
love.
little Japanese construction workers in the little hats and like, like yellow.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I love that the first ever episode is like it's a feature episode on a female Power Ranger.
Yeah.
we actually learned something specifically about Trini, that she's afraid of heights.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I didn't realize this episode was the second episode when we started watching it, because obviously I watched them out of order. A
Oh
lot of
yeah,
a lot of the first series you can watch out of order. You don't need to watch them in any specific order.
not really, no.
I didn't realize that the first ever episode was this. I didn't realize it was a Trini Center episode, and she does get so many episodes
Mm-hmm.
around this where we learn more about her. But I do like this episode, and
It
the fact,
seems it seems early on she's got the most sort of complicated sort of deal out of any of them, because Billy's the science guy.
yeah,
He gets some development later, like with some side characters and stuff, but everyone else is very one note, where it's like Kimberly is the gymnast, Zach
yeah,
is the dancer, Jason is the fighter, like the
yeah,
karate man, and he's
yeah,
strong. Trini so far has gotten, she does not want to date Skull or Bull, because they're always trying to hit on the girls.
yeah,
And yeah, she likes the environment, and she's got a fear. But yeah, so like this kind of, it manifests in that they're fighting putties, and then Billy sort of gets like backed up a cliff
yeah,
side basically, and she has to think like, oh, can I actually get up there to help him, or do I have to just leave Billy to be
yeah,
killed by Putty Patrollers?
yeah, and
Because he's like freaking out, and like that's, I guess, development for him as well. He's like, oh, this is bad. I can't do this on my
because
own,
obviously
type of
he
thing.
fully admits that he's not a fighter.
Yeah, because we see him having like a karate lesson,
Yeah,
don't we?
and it's interesting that they've put this in, because they could have gone the route where they've picked
Mhm.
characters that can fight, but they haven't. They've picked characters that have got very different styles of fighting or not fighting.
Yeah,
Billy doesn't fight. He isn't a fighter, but he develops into being, an amazing fighter. But you've got,
he has to learn.
yeah,
Yeah.
he has to learn. He has no choice. But he also, I like the fact that they also show that he's able to help the team in other ways. Obviously,
Mhm.
he makes the communicators, um, and
Yes,
and
which has got that famous like dee, 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 which I really wanted as a kid.
we all wanted that as a kid. But he's able to help, the team in other ways, and I love that now, looking back as an adult, that he's not just one dimensional, because at this point I feel very much like Kimberly, Zach, and Jason are very one dimensional, but this episode kind of cements that Trini and Billy aren't that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I know like they do build on some stuff later, and we get like love triangles and everything, but
Oh,
we're not
we're in a
anywhere close
simple
to that
age.
yet.
We're in a simple age at the moment.
So yeah, so this is where it kind of gets weird, because like Rita does a thing where they make a tiny remote controlled spacecraft that drives around, and I guess we're supposed to interpret that this is like the time device bomb, so it's
Yeah.
gonna go somewhere and then set off like a time anomaly, which is gonna like attract the Rangers to go and then get trapped.
Yeah.
um but then on top of that, she's like, I need a new monster that's even worse than before. And like Finster's like, well, I guess we could use Mr. Bones, but he's a bit crazy or whatever. And you're like,
Yeah.
and he's like, he doesn't want to make him, sort of thing. And
Yeah.
then when he
He's
comes
very
out,
reluctant.
and he's like, so he's like a monster suit where the head is detachable, because I guess the guy's inside the body. So he can do all this like funny stuff where he's like, yes, my lady, and like take his head off instead of like tipping his cap, sort of thing. he's
It's
like
really weird, but I
he's
find
like
it
a
funny.
he's like a proper fancy man, and he doesn't get much screen time at all for like
No.
the way he's developed. But
No.
yeah, so it kind of like it sort of culminates in them being in this like time, like dark dimension,
Yeah,
all
the
the Rangers.
time warp dimension.
Yeah, and he's got like skeleton henchmen as well, which are different from putties, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, for how much effort they put into this character, like you said, he doesn't
Yeah,
get much screen time, and obviously you've got the skeleton henchman.
yeah.
But I do think this episode kind of develops the lore more, because obviously this is the first time
Mhm.
where they get the blasters.
Yes, yeah, because we're starting to see some more of the toys come in, which is like, the Rangers need accessories to go with the they've already got vehicles. Now they need accessories.
Yeah,
So like they all have a blaster. Is that correct? Like everyone's
Yeah,
just got the
they've
same
all
blaster.
they've all got blasters. It's obviously just color coded to their color.
Do they turn into daggers as well? Are they like, because they do, or do they just like more? Is it because they do like sort of switch them around, don't they, into like a slightly different form?
Yeah, they can switch them around ever so slightly. I don't know how to quite describe it, but they can. Yeah, they can switch them around because they can like
Oh, I'm
change
going on. I'm
change
going
how
on the wiki.
change how they look and stuff.
They are called a blade blaster, and they do have a sword mode apparently. But I think they're just like it's like ranger sidearms that they can use like in
Yeah.
emergencies, or if they need range. Um, but yeah, but then they also on top of that have their own signature weapons, which we'll get into a bit later.
Yes.
um, so yeah, why is this episode called High Five? Is
I
literally
don't
just
know.
height? Is it like five rangers and fear of heights just
I
mixed together?
really don't know.
But anyway, so Mr. Bones, in addition to having all this extra stuff, also has like a thing where he can reassemble himself if you bust him down, and
Yeah.
like the effect is pretty good for like like 90s sort of era. But yeah, did you know in the trivia that this is one of the only times a base level ranger defeats a full monster
I,
without any kind of like help from tools, I guess.
I didn't know that.
So,
And I'd forgotten that this episode ends this way.
yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised, but I had forgotten that it ends this way.
yeah, Trini's one of the only rangers to have a confirmed kill on a monster
Yeah.
without using like Zords or anything. Because yeah, Billy realizes you've got to just like destroy the head.
Yeah.
That's where Mr. Bones' power is. And yeah, so they end up like knocking it off and stuff, and like she just throws it into lava.
Yeah, because I need to know. I need to know where they're getting all this like lava from, because
Yeah, well,
lava features quite a lot in Mighty
yeah,
Morphin.
and like they're in like I guess it's Mr. Bones transported them there.
Yeah.
that's all we're to know. And yeah,
Yeah.
they're trying to trap them in with that bomb sort of thing. That's kind of it until like Squat and Babu are there also.
They're trying to trap the Rangers forever, aren't they?
It's interesting though because like the Rita's like core group who lives in a castle never really meets the Rangers that often
No.
in person. It's odd, but yeah, it is what
Well,
it is.
it doesn't really happen until later.
Yeah.
It does happen much later on when we get to like I would say once we get to where the White Ranger appears, we
Mhm.
do get, because obviously then they've got the suits in America. They're able
Yeah.
to do a lot more with
Yeah.
with what they've got basically.
And then this part definitely feels like it's just taken from a totally unrelated episode because they get out of the bone dimension. And then Rita just summons like a giant
Yeah.
like Spartan warrior type of thing.
Yeah. This literally makes no sense, and this is kind of up there on my scale of Sentai versus American footage on my scale, because it literally makes no sense. But then it makes no sense for like Jason escapes the giant's grip, because obviously the giant grabs Jason.
Yeah.
And Jason summons his Dino Zord, and then after a brief fight, he destroys the giant. And then yet again, Rita develops a migraine.
But yeah, this is one of the only time, like, I mean, not the only time. It's one of the few times you see like the Tyrannosaurus having a Godzilla fight on its own.
Yeah.
Because it can do tail whips and stuff. I think it's got like a drill tail. Or
Yeah.
maybe that's a dragon. But anyway, I think dragon has a drill tail.
Yeah. But it's interesting because I feel like this was maybe a Red Ranger focused episode in Sentai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely this half. Yeah.
Yeah, because they do a lot of splicing of episodes, which is why they very quickly ran out of footage.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they were wasting it.
Yeah, they were wasting it. But
if they just stopped with Mr. Bones.
But they did. The problem was they didn't have the money. They didn't realize that it was going to become as popular as it did.
True.
They did not have that knowledge. They thought,
they only had 5 episodes, and they're like, oh, let's just put it all in.
Yeah, so they thought they were going to have just one season, because obviously how the season was meant to end, it was meant to link more into Sentai, and a lot of the a lot of like they were going to have like the gods appear and things like that. It was going to be a very, very different end. And obviously I think they got about 20 episodes in and they realized just how popular it was.
Mhm.
And obviously they had to change everything very,
Yeah.
very quickly.
It'll be fun if we see like a change happen in real time, like
Yeah.
while we're watching. And so yeah, like it ends with them back in the youth center, all happy and stuff. And Trini technically conquers her fear, but basically Zach scares her into climbing up the climbing rope. Because yeah,
Yeah.
we forgot to mention that was sort of the intro is like, oh, she's scared to do the climbing rope, and then Bulk was like, I can do the climbing rope, and so he can fall on his foot.
Yeah, there is a lot of things used Bulk and Skull's expense.
Yeah, they do like they're always doing like, oh, I can do this better than you, and then like they'll just fall over a table full of food.
It's very typical I would say very typical 90s bully vibes.
Yeah, and
Um
like, and we didn't talk about the really silly music that comes on whenever whenever Bulk and Skull show up. They've got their own theme song. It's like dum dum
I
dum dum
didn't I
dum
didn't
dum.
I didn't realize this until we were watching it again. I was like, I then went back to the first episode and then I was like listening out for it on the third episode, going, they've got their own theme. How did I not know this? How did I not recognize this? But the music, I've got to comment. The music is epic. I used to have like a cassette tape of the Power Ranger music, and I used to listen to it on repeat. I still listen to it on repeat now on Spotify.
Was it that blue one where it's got like it was like a blue background with all the Rangers on? It had Go Green Ranger Go or something.
Yeah.
Second track.
Yeah. It had obviously the Mighty Morphin song.
Extended version.
The extended version, and then it had Go Green Ranger, and then obviously then it ended on the cliffhanger going, what's that in the viewing globe? That's the White Ranger.
How dare they? But yeah, like I think I had that on tape, and then I bought a CD of it in a charity shop for like £2.
I've got it on Spotify. I'm the person who added it to the Nerdy Up North.
Nice.
The album. Do you know, so I keep calling it albums. It's playlists. It's playlists.
Yeah.
I keep calling them albums. I'm like, no, it's not an album, Beck. It's playlist.
My LP.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think the music's really, really epic.
Yeah, and they use like the Power Rangers theme all the way through it, but it's on like keyboard pan pipes normally when they're just wandering, when it's like chill time.
Yeah. They get their money's worth out of the very basic music they've got in there.
Whenever Bulk and Skull like fall over something, it's got that like it's not, I don't know if you'd call it like an orchestra hit, but it's like that kind of noise.
It's very what's the word? It's extravagant. The music that goes with their tomfoolery. It's very beat.
Yeah, and in your face. And,
yeah.
But yeah, Bulk and Skull will forever be falling over stuff and falling in slime and everything like that for the entire series, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next episode is called Teamwork, I believe.
Yes, it is.
So, synopsis here, we've got the girls lead a drive to clean up the environment, but Rita has other plans. When Kimberly and Trini walk into her waste dump, she also sends the mighty Minotaur to defeat our heroes.
Yes.
So this one's interesting. It's not very plot heavy, but it has some interesting scenes. So they're basically trying to collect petition signatures to try and close down the dump because it's too bad for the environment. But we don't really know if this is a thing set up by Rita, because when they go, it's all like silent and like almost like horror movie style when they're like going in.
It's a really creepy start to this episode. But this is another episode that like it confuses me because I didn't realize it was so soon in the run. And it's also another female-led episode.
Yeah, because this one there's very much a like the Rangers are split up for part of it.
Yeah.
In a kind of like, oh, this is dangerous, because when we're split apart, it means like no Megazord. Like they can't use all of their powers because a lot of their big moves come from like everyone joining together.
Teamwork. It's all about teamwork. But yeah, I just didn't realize this was such an early episode because obviously Rita's got this whole plan to pollute the whole planet. One, it's a bit ridiculous that she chose Angel Grove of all places to do this when she could have chosen anywhere else on Earth, but TV magic. But yeah, it's an interesting choice, and it's the fact that it's Trini and Kimberly, because they haven't had much time together in these episodes so far.
No, and you're right about like Power Rangers was probably the first show I'd seen that didn't just have one token girl character.
Yeah.
Technically, it does have a token black character, which is its own problem, but they were trying to do right by like male and female balance on this show.
Yeah,
you know
they, and to be fair, I think they do it even better as they go on. There are a lot of female characters that are very, very strong. And I do believe they made the right choice here, instead of it doing how Sentai have set it up, where the Yellow Ranger is normally male. Unless it's specifically stated, obviously with a skirt. I think they did actually choose the right approach by making the Yellow Ranger female, especially in this, because I don't think it would have appealed to me as much if only the Pink Ranger was female.
Yeah, definitely. And like, as a kid, like, I mean, let's face it, like the most popular Rangers, it was kind of equal. Like I think everyone had their own Ranger, didn't they? You couldn't say it. I mean, fair enough, Green Ranger is maybe a little bit more popular, but that's because he had like a special story, and he was limited time as well, which makes people think more highly. And he was like almost on his own planet nearly, because he was just so different when you kind of try and compare him. But I would say that
is kind of what caused a lot of the issues that we later see. Sort of like off camera, because of the popularity of David Jason Frank, all of these issues happen because of his popularity. And
and I think like a lot of kids choose favorite colors, and they're like, oh man, I like the blue one. It is a really nice shade of blue. Like, and technically, I am colorblind, but I can still enjoy colors. And I don't know much about color theory, but the shades they've chosen for all of this is just perfect. And like, it pops super well. You never like get confused which Ranger is which, like when they're all in a big group or anything.
And even sort of unmorphed, they wear the colors for that reason.
I like that as well. Yeah. I mean, it does make it a bit sad that Ernie can't figure it out, that he's hanging out with the Power Rangers.
That makes me really sad that he never figures it out. I'm gonna have to look in the comic books and see if he does actually figure it out, to be fair.
Oh yeah, it'd be nice if he knew the whole time.
Yeah,
like, well, and I knew it was a secret.
That's why they were getting like free milkshakes and stuff.
Yeah, but he like knew he had to keep the secret. Yeah, that's our headcanon now.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is the first. Probably, well, I know they've been like, I think in the first episode, the Putties kicked their ass a bit until they sort of, got their shit together. But this is our first like Ranger defeat, where, because Goldar and the Putties show up for Trini and Kimberly, which that's not something two Rangers can really handle on their own.
No, not at all.
And then the mighty Minotaur is sent to like, hassle the rest of the Rangers. Yeah. And the Minotaur's thing is that he deflects a lot of stuff. Is that right?
Yeah. That's how I perceived it on the screen.
He's got like a shield, so he's like deflecting things, and they can't get anything together to try and take him down. They're just like, nothing's working.
Yeah.
And so Rita just goes full on like, oh, I'm gonna win mode, and she's like, I'm gonna make him big even though he hasn't been defeated.
Yeah. She throws the rule book out, and she's like, okay, we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna just jump to it. And this is an interesting one, because obviously they do get defeated and Zordon pulls them back.
Yeah.
He pulls them back. He's like, okay, I can't let you guys be destroyed. I'm going to pull you back. And this is where we get the power weapons finally.
Yes, which I think in this one they named the normal thing.
Yes, obviously the power sword, power axe, power lance, power daggers, and power bow.
But I think there's one time where they're called the dino daggers and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, here we go. I've got, because it says here because it's in the episode different drum.
Yeah.
So like the power axe gets called the cosmic cannon. What is it? No, the power sword is normal. The power lance is called the mighty mace.
Yeah.
Dino daggers, and I think battle bow is what what's
Yeah,
called the power.
I kind of accept that as that is what they called their weapons. That's not like the official
Yeah,
Zordon
okay.
Zordon term. That is what they've called their weapons because they get to name their own stuff.
Yeah, they're cool though. They're all modular apart from the sword. Like, the
Yeah.
lance splits into two, and the
Yeah.
daggers have a sort of alternate like mode as well. And I
Yeah.
think the bow is just normal. But yeah, the axe is an axe and a gun.
Well, the power bow can transform into a harp.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I can't remember when that's used, but I'm sure once we get there, we'll be able to figure it out. But it was once used as a harp. I can remember that. I don't know what episode though, but we'll find it.
And so like this is the cool thing where it's like, oh, and also kids, they can put them all together into a giant gun that they all have to like hold together and fire.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work.
It rules because I love how it all snaps together as well.
Yeah.
I just love whatever animation they use to do that. It looks really cool.
Even now, 30 years on, it does look pretty epic.
They just throw it in the air and they're all just like, I'll add my bits. Like
yeah. It is fascinating watching it now as an adult. Obviously, they create it to form the power blaster, and they fire a blast at the mighty Minotaur, destroying it. And I love that Rita is so furious. Like she is fuming. Like she is absolutely fuming at this that it's been destroyed because she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna win." And...
Yeah, I know it's like a very Japanese thing to like hold power-ups back and be like, "Oh, we're just gonna use these now and win," but that's the kind of thing where you can't really think about the law implications or like the logic behind it, because it's like yeah, why would they ever jump into battle without like the power sword? Why would Jason ever not have his sword? But
yeah,
I don't know, is there some kind of energy level, like if they use too much range of power they'll like run out or something?
There is a lot of lore around it, but also one of the rules for being a ranger is you don't extend a battle, or there are some Zordon laws around it, but also there are certain ranger abilities, like the pink Power Ranger. There is such a thing as too much pink energy because it is so powerful. So I'm guessing that probably applies to the rest of the Rangers, that it can become too much.
Yeah, okay. Again, though, we don't really have to think about it, do we?
Not at this
episodes.
Point. No.
But yeah, okay. So let's go on to our final first batch episode, which I believe is a pressing engagement. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Synopsis: Jason tries to break a fitness record, which is his bench press, that record that Bulk has apparently.
Yeah.
But Goldar has a plan to separate Jason from the others. Rita sends down the powerful King Sphinx to squash Jason.
Yes.
So yeah, this is another one where they're kind of playing on the whole like, if you separate the Rangers, like that's the way to get them, but it's keeping them apart. That's the hard thing.
Yeah, because they are friends. They are friends.
Yeah.
In the school, they hang out. They do activities together, and it's interesting. But how this episode starts is really funny, and I was absolutely creased laughing because obviously Jason is trying to do the bench pressing. You've got Trina there; she's supporting him. You've got Kimberly, who then comes over and she blows a bubble, which then causes utter chaos.
Yeah.
In the juice bar, and then Ernie loses count.
Yeah. Which you could have been writing down a tally chart instead of just trying to remember off the top of his head. Or someone else could have remembered, but nobody's got any ideas apparently.
Yeah. And then and then obviously Jason then starts doubting his ability. He doesn't want to be known as a quitter, and obviously the Rangers try and comfort him because he is their friend. But then obviously
doing like 900 bench presses is nothing to sniff at. Like.
No, it's really not. I couldn't do it.
He's like 1001.
Yeah.
Like when we first start the episode.
Yeah. he's doing a lot. I think that's epic for, because obviously at the time these Rangers are what, 16, 17? I actually know they've got to be about, I don't know, because obviously things move so quickly and it's a bit of a timey-wimey because
what's crazy is Bulk had the 1,000 bench press record before.
Yeah, but I can see that. I can see that because you do see in later episodes he does do more things like that. He does do more activities than just bullying.
This is one of the only times we see like some physical bullying attempt to happen, because he does grab Jason, but then like tickle him and he's like
yeah.
And then he rips his pants, I think.
Yeah, it's very comedy centered in this episode when that kind of happens.
Oh yeah, and the dude rip his pants all the way off as well, and you see his little boxer shorts.
Yeah,
and he has to run off.
Yeah, that's quite funny. But then obviously, then you've got Rita, who believes that Jason's not tough enough who's not tough enough without his friends. And she decides to isolate him.
Yeah. It's a good tactic. Yeah. It works for them.
I love this monster. I absolutely love King Sphinx. It's one of the ones that I remember vividly.
Yeah, there's a few, isn't there, that kind of stick in your mind. For me, it's the snake guy, because I had like one of the toys of him.
Mine is the eye guy.
Oh yeah,
and that's going to be. I think that's next episode. I think that'll be next episode.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's like that's the thing. We did get toys of some of the monsters.
I've got some of them.
Yeah, they were okay. And yeah, we didn't talk about those Ranger toys with the flipping heads.
But they've just been brought back.
I know.
They've just been brought back. If I had money, I would be buying them. Because I do love them.
It didn't work so good on the Green Ranger though, because it would blow his power armor off, like the dragon armor. You would have to unclip it first.
Didn't think that one through. Let's put it this way.
Not as convenient. Yeah, so like the way the Sphinx works is he has like these wings that can send people out of the battle. So he rejects the Rangers, and then they end up back in like Angel Grove with like no suit on.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Yeah, it's you're like, what's happening here? Obviously it's Zach and Kimberly. He blows back to the juice bar.
Yeah, and they like land on the balance bar together. Like, really
yeah. And obviously King Sphinx teleports them to like a desert-like area where then Goldar joins in.
Yeah, and they're kind of just all like ganging up on Jason if they can, which like. I know Jason's technically like the head ranger, but he doesn't, apart from his Tyrannosaurus maybe being a bit more like better in a fight than the other guys, sort of like tanks, I guess you would describe most of them as. He's not way more powerful than anyone else. So I feel like if you beat him up and he couldn't continue, I feel like a Triceratops and a saber-toothed tiger would be enough to like cause trouble still.
Yeah.
They're gonna be okay. He's not like overpowered. No. But yeah, I think this is where some of the lore gets weird, because they bring in like power crystals, but I don't think they should have ever not had the power crystals, is how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, like you said, these first 40 episodes, the lore is kind of all over the place.
And Jason has to like dig them out of the side of a hill, and he has to like dodge the giant like Goldar and Sphinx while he's doing it. And I'm like, yeah, clearly this was supposed to be an episode where it's like you have to find the power crystals sort of thing, but that's kind of not how they framed it.
Yeah, because obviously the only way to help Jason is to send him their power crystals that would then allow the Rangers to teleport to him.
Yeah, it's like, you can use it to like call his friends like to him sort of thing. Yeah, that's kind of what they try.
It just doesn't work really. And adult reading it, like looking into it now, it doesn't work whatsoever. But it's a fun episode,
Yeah, and the Sphinx, because it's like a man Sphinx, like a muscle man with like a Sphinx head and wings.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is like an iconic monster design.
It really is.
Yeah, when you saw this in the shop as a kid, you're like, yep, that's Power Rangers.
yeah, 100%. And obviously, we then get to the Zord scene, because Jason manages to summon his friends. We get the normal the power sword destroying
I think
King Sphinx.
this might be the first power sword though. Like full on use to kill someone.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
But like the power sword's cool because it comes down from space, I guess.
Yeah.
Like and
Yeah.
like smashes into the ground, and then he's like, oh, and then they do like a cool like cross slash thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the baddie just explodes.
Yeah. I think you're right. This is the first time that the power sword is properly used. It's not
And when you
used
think
until
about
that
this
point.
thing, it's got to be like as big as a building, so like
Yeah.
it's serious business.
Yeah. Go big or go home.
Yeah. And then because it's a kid's show, he beats the bench press record at the
Of
end.
course.
And then then they bring out a cake
They
that has
do.
like happy birthday something on it.
Yeah, and Ernie's like, well, what do you expect me to do? It was last minute. Which I love. I love the fact. And then obviously Bulk smashes into it. No,
Of course, yeah.
It's Snow.
He does fall into the cake because he like trips on something.
Yes, and then he basically shoves some of it into Skull's face. I think. Yeah.
Like, it's just one of them things. Like if you in the Power Rangers universe, if you bring out a giant cake, Bulk and Skull will be gravitationally drawn to that cake.
No matter where they are in the world, they are going to turn up.
They'll end up in the cake somehow.
Yeah, that is a thing. It's
and then everyone's laughing, like
yeah.
Ha.
Yeah, it's very 90s in its approach. But I do love these episodes, but I don't think I ever watched them in order before now, because
no, and I think like from reading some of the wiki stuff, like the aired it differently, but then the might be talking about American air dates, which don't really apply to us.
Yeah,
also.
I don't remember some of these episodes being as soon as they are, but kids, you kind of watch it on repeat.
Yeah, you just catch whatever you can, and sometimes you'll be like, oh well, I'm watching every morning to follow the important storylines, like the two-parters and stuff.
Yeah. Because I can remember watching like the big parters, like the power transfer, Green with Evil, the Green Candle, the White Ranger return. I remember those episodes, and I remember watching them consistently in order, but I don't remember like the order of the other episodes.
One of the big ones I remember is when they get like the Ultra Zord or whatever, and it's like Goldar nearly kills them, like nearly destroys the Megazord.
The emotional damage. The emotional damage.
Maybe he does destroy it.
He does.
Then they have to go. Then they have to go on like a quest to find like the extra Zords.
The Ninjetti saga. Oh my god! Seriously, Jake, I am still emotionally damaged by that moment where
that was terrifying as a kid.
Kimberly is screaming for her Zord. Like,
yeah. Because right now they don't really have much of a personal connection to
any
of the
don't.
Power Rangers stuff.
No, they don't.
It just sort of happens.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's ages away though.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that was our first full recap episode.
Yes.
First 4 done.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you guys have any memories of these episodes.
Yeah, these ones ain't too bad as far as editing goes. It's the next batch where things get a bit crazy at times, but these ones they're okay.
Yeah, there are a few editing issues, like Billy never picks up his morpher when he drops it. And there are a few other things that you're just like, why? And like Jason knowing that they are called power crystals when he's not been told that, and those
just magic.
Yeah, those kind of things. There are a lot of things like that come up.
I mean, no one had to tell them how to jump into the Zords because we haven't mentioned that. They just jump from the ground into the robots.
I've got headcanon around the morphing grid, around these type of things.
Do they just drop into the head? Is it like a hatch thing that they open up and like drop into?
Yeah, there's a hatch at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there is a hatch at the back. But I've got a headcanon that the morphing grid lets them know this type of thing. It lets them know. Yeah.
It's all instinct.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for anyone who's joined us for this Ranger journey. And we'll be back with some more, another handful of episodes. And we're getting into it. We'll be hitting in a few more episodes we'll be hitting the stuff that's like more important to like Rangers going forward. But right now we're in the silly times.
Yes. We are just building up to it.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you. We'll be on you'll be watching us or listening to us on some kind of Nerdy Up North channel. So feel free to check out any of the other magical stuff we have there. We've pretty much got something for everyone, I would say.
We really do.
But yeah, thank you, Becca. Is there anything you want to say?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay. We'll see you all on the next one, and watch out for Ranger Danger.
Bye.